Come on in. It's the Sports Parlor Podcast, brought to you by BetJack.com. And now, please welcome the guys who know it all, Phil Taylor and Nick Pedone.
Welcome on into the Sports Parlor Podcast presented by BetJack.com. It's a great week to be following BetJack on social media, particularly Twitter at BetJackOhio, as the fine folks over there are giving away a Myles Garrett Browns jersey ahead of Thursday Night Football. So make sure to log on to Twitter at BetJackOhio, retweet that tweet, make sure you get into that Myles Garrett jersey giveaway. I'm your host, Nick Pedone, as I said, joined by 2011 Cleveland Browns first round pick. It's a sore Phil Taylor in studio today. Phil, how was basketball yesterday?
It was cool, man. Shake the cobwebs off, get a little cardio in, but it was cool, man. It felt great.
Now, when you play basketball, we've seen some of these videos more recently of big boys playing basketball. We saw it with Myles, and he was like kind of a point guard. There, he was very explosive downfield. Yeah. You have handles like that, or
not at all. Not at all. I'm gonna just body you down there in the post. Yeah, big boy ball.
Not a lot of finesse.
Yeah, big boy ball. Nothing fast. Nothing fancy.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll have to check that out sometime for sure. Basketball guy myself. We'll talk some NBA today as the NBA season is underway, as folks will be listening to this, but we're here to talk about football too, and it was another really crazy weekend of football in Ohio. The Browns lost to Arizona. We got to talk about that and some of the ramifications from Thursday night. The Bengals beat the brakes off of Detroit. I look like a dummy there. I picked the Lions. Probably not going to do that again for the rest of the year. And Cincinnati Bearcats and Coach Fickell moved to number 2 in the nation. So shout out our Bearcats because they're grooving, and we could see a college football playoff with both Ohio State and Cincinnati. Put Ohio on the map. I'm all for it.
For sure. I'm down for that as well. Something different. I'm always down for something different.
Yeah, we got to get Cleveland State a football program so we can be all represented.
We should. They can do it. They can do it. Get all the inner city guys from Cleveland, man.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Yeah, and they play in the Horizon League. They got Coach Gates turned around their basketball program in Cleveland State. Coach Gates is just genius of an individual and a basketball coach. So, yeah, Cleveland State football, the Vikings. I think I got a year elegibility at receiver or gadget guy.
I can coach.
Yeah, Phil could coach D-line. So we're already picking up pieces. So Cleveland State, up to you to do the rest. And back to our usual fashion. Sadly for me, Phil beat Nick in our weekly picks. Boy, I am 37-23 on the year. Phil, you are 39-21, my friend. 2 full games ahead of me. Again, strategy. I'm going to have to pick some underdog money lines as we move through our pick segment this week. Well, Before we get into those picks, we got a whole lot of football to talk. Phil, kick us off with your first fact this week.
First one we got, are the Bengals for real in the AFC? Yes, and it's scary. Because these guys are young, they're hungry, and they've been rocking and rolling. And, I mean, me as a Browns fan, I don't like to see it. But, they're rocking and rolling. And only thing I think that's going to stop them is another high-potent offense. Their weakness is probably going to be on the defensive side of the ball. They got Burrow and those freaking all the first-round draft picks they spent on wide receivers. So, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seems like things are starting to shake out for the Bengals. And, we definitely, as Browns fans, it's tough for us to talk about it because it scares us. But as another Ohio team, we love showing them love on the show. And like you said, the offense is pretty high-powered. And now they found a way to use Joe Mixon that seemed like it had been the missing piece leading up into this year. But they have him rumbling with Chris Evans, the young, I think he's like a 6th-round pick out of Michigan. That could be a hell of a 1-2 punch. For years to come in the AFC North. We know it's all about running the football, and the Bengals are starting to figure it out. Again, another team where a lot of people with Zach Taylor, they thought, okay, like this guy, how long could he be the coach? He was off to a miserable start, and one season he's already matched the total amount of wins he's had in his previous 2 or 3. So crazy things happen in Cincinnati. We'll see those Bengals against our Browns in just a 3 weeks here. So that'll be in Paul Brown Stadium. The Browns could be shorthanded, and we're going to talk about that here, Phil, in your second fact.
All right, number 2, we got time to worry about Baker's Browns. Indeed.
Oh, boy.
Indeed. I don't know, man. It's tough, man, because like some week it's just inconsistent, man. And I know he's hurt, but it's just inconsistency, man. That's the only thing I'm looking at, inconsistency. When you be consistent, better things happen. But I just felt like I said in the earlier episodes, he's trying to force too many things. And I feel like that's how he got hurt, trying to force something and leaving his arm, unprotected. So, yeah.
Yeah, so all right, it's time for another Baker Mayfield therapy session in Cleveland, I think. I think a lot of fans are going a little bit nuts. Obviously, Thursday Night Football, it's a really, really short turnaround, and now he's got the thing going on with the shoulder. It's a short week and then a mini bye, so to speak, right? Because then you have 10 full days off before the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you're the Cleveland Browns and you know what you know, and Baker got a second opinion on the shoulder, and it's banged up, right? There's no MRI is going to show that the shoulder's not banged up. What do you do? Is there that severe of a drop-off from a banged-up Baker Mayfield to a healthy Case Keenum? How do you judge this on such a short week?
That's true. It's tough. And nobody knows how Baker feels but Baker. Obviously, the MRI is going to show, what's going on underneath. But, sometimes it can look worse than it is. Sometimes it can not look as, bad as it is. So, only time will tell. Hopefully the second opinion be, negative and, everything will be all right. So, that's what I'm hoping, man. But if not, I'm pretty sure Keenum is going to be getting some reps with the ones in practice, so to make sure he's ready. So, yeah.
Baker is one of those guys that plays a little bit nuts. That he's just wired that way. And we saw it when it was like hide and seek in the blue tent where he would go in one way and come out the other way, and then they had to pull him back in, and then he came back out. It felt like he gets the look in his eye when this continually happens with the shoulder. Like, no, nobody's going in on my field. How much of that is adrenaline? How do labrums work? I know you were telling me before the show that your shoulder isn't even right. And is there a point in all this where you think Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns as an organization need to step in and, say, Baker, we love you. We appreciate you. We understand that the contract thing is here and it's at front of mind for all of us. And it ain't pretty right now, by any stretch, but we can't put this kid in harm's way and lead him out there into a game where maybe it is season-ending shoulder surgery if he takes a couple more hits. I don't know what to do here, man.
The only thing I look at is it's not his throwing shoulder.
Right.
So that's the – but I never played quarterback, so I don't know how, if we can protect him and he not get sacked, yeah, but that's tough to do in the NFL, period, or against any team. So, it's tough. And Stefanski and the medical staff, they got a tough decision. And Baker has a tough decision. Everybody, wants Baker to play, including himself. But they got to look at it to where they want to do they want to win right now, and is this game absolutely necessary, or do they want to protect Baker from Baker? Because Baker's going to want to play regardless.
And I think a big factor in that decision for the Browns, and I don't know how much this will weigh for them, but from an outsider's perspective, from the outside looking in, it seems like this is almost becoming a must-win football game. Crazy to say against the Denver Broncos, because you look around the AFC North, we just talked about the Bengals, they're rolling. The Ravens are now in sole first place of the AFC after the Buffalo Bills lose on Monday night in primetime. And then the Steelers squeak out a lucky win against the Seahawks and Geno. So it's like, man, we cannot afford to lose this football game. You're already going to be without Nick Chubb, without Kareem Hunt, both with calf injuries. Tough there. And then Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry are questionable too. I think a big thing for me as a fan, and I think I speak for a lot of fans when I say this, is I fear if we bring out Baker and play Case Keenum in this football game, we go back to quarterback Haiti. We go back to the laundry list of starting quarterbacks since 1999 and dust off the, Agent Anderson jerseys.
But it's not the bad play though.
It's not, but it makes me nervous. What happens if Keenum leads us to a Browns victory and throws for 300 yards and hits an open Odell Beckham. And then the chatter is going to get, I've seen it as somebody that's lived in this town.
But it's due to injury. And when it comes to that, yes, that's great. He was ready for that game. But you still got to ride with Baker. I can see if Baker just stunk it up and then they did that and Keenum went out there. No question.
Yeah.
But he's hurt. You gotta respect that.
So I feel like this is an intellectual show. I truly do. Not to toot our own horn, but we don't really ride the highs and the lows. There were people on social media after, he turned the ball over a couple times, and you got to hold on to the football. I don't think anybody's judging that, but there's people that are saying that the Browns are a quarterback away from being Super Bowl contenders. I don't know if I think that's a bit of a reach. Can we really say that right now, that the Browns are a quarterback away? That feels like just short-sighted. And on the same hand,
any team can be a quarterback away.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that's not true. I'm not saying it is true, but if you put Aaron Rodgers in Cleveland, would they be a quarterback away?
Yeah, but then with Baker, okay, so you put Aaron Rodgers in Cleveland. Let's take a look at Aaron Rodgers right now in Green Bay. Say you take away his 2 starting tackles. Say you take away Aaron Jones. Say you take away Devontae Adams, which in theory is what Baker's got going. 3 tackles missing, without 2 running backs, and without Jarvis Landry, who's his security blanket, and he looks awful. This is the same thing with Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. The guy was a shell of what Patrick Mahomes currently is. So it's so tough. And when people start talking crazy about Baker Mayfield, and we've heard people say that Matt Ryan needs to be the quarterback of this team in his 38th year of age in the National Football League. I'm like, come on, man. Like, let's not go absolutely crazy.
I think it's tough for any quarterback, though, coming into Cleveland and trying to, flip it around. You know what I mean? And it's tough. I mean, and they kind of, I said earlier, they kind of put Baker in that boat, like Manziel, those type, like physically type, quarterbacks or whatever. But it is what it is. You gotta see what's going on with Baker. If he good, he good. If he not, put Keenum in, and then you worry about everything else after.
And I think,
I mean, it ain't no time to make no, should we make a big deal? You know what I'm saying? Get Odell up out of here with some picks for a better cute. Nah, they don't need to be thinking that.
And I think that's a big thing, too, with why people are so endeared to Baker Mayfield in this fan base. Is we've seen the long list of quarterbacks since 1999, and we've seen the Johnny footballs and some of the guys that you've played with. It's been a nightmare, and we finally have a kid here that went ahead on his combine day, where it's a lot of safe answers, and said, in plain English, if there's anyone to turn that franchise around, it was going to be him. And lo and behold, 4 years removed from that day, I would be dared to say that the Cleveland Browns are turned around. And they're 3-3. They're an average football team right now. There's a lot of work to be done. But I don't think anybody was singing Super Bowl tunes when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 8-5 last year. And I sure as hell don't think people were calling for Tom Brady there either. So I think everybody needs to hit the brakes on Baker. We know what we have with him. He's really good when the pieces are around him. Let's get those pieces back and let's let him be really good, because right now there is no alternative. Like you said, you can't get Aaron Rodgers here that easily without giving up first-round picks. We have an analytically driven front office. They're not going to do that. They're not going to make a move for 38-year-old Matt Ryan. That just doesn't make any sense. So the people, the bozos on Twitter and the people that we have to interact with in day-to-day life, calm down. Baker Mayfield is the franchise quarterback of this football team, even if it is Case Keenum on Thursday against Denver.
I got it. I got it.
What do you feel about Odell? I know you kind of mentioned him there. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we can't ignore, I hate doing this, but we can't ignore there's a few things working against him. He's banged up now. Then you also have the contract situation where he has $15 million due to him next year, all inclusive. That's roster, that's workout, that's signing, whatever. $15 million. That's going to be a tough check to sign. And then you also have his just inability to click with Baker. Let's call it for what it is. They're never on the same page. what do you do with Odell Beckham Jr. as the November 3rd NFL trade deadline approaches?
I don't know, man. I feel as though, like, just from watching, they don't click.
Right.
And then I feel like whenever Odell's not on the field, they do better. It's like, I'm not saying, I mean, just what I watch, what I'm saying? I think anybody can see that, but I don't know. I feel like he's not happy, so I wouldn't be surprised if they wouldn't at least listen to offers, for him. And out of respect, if he's not happy and he's at this point in his career, get him somewhere you can and get what you can, out of him. And they probably won't have to pay that $15 million either if they, shop him.
Right, and that's the latter, right? Is, well, okay, so you can get him out of here and at least get a couple picks out of it. I know his value is probably at an all-time low.
They can still get a first rounder from him.
You think they could still get a first-round pick for Odell Beckham?
Why wouldn't you?
Whew, I don't know. He hasn't done much in a couple years.
He hasn't been out there much. You know what I mean? Like, he's been banged up, and I just don't think him and Baker click. You know what I mean? And that was from day one. So, only people that click is freaking Odell and Jarvis. You know what I'm saying? But they can't throw the ball to each other.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah,
a trick play.
In practice. We can't do that every play.
Maybe we'll get a trick play on Thursday, and we'll see. With the Odell stuff, we'll have to keep monitoring it. Right now, he has been like an A+ teammate in this town. Like, we can't say anything bad about him. The New York media, I really feel like kind of
he hasn't been lashing out or anything like that. So I mean, it's tough for all of them.
Yeah.
So
I wish they could just click, but it seems like now that
I feel as though they want to make it work. It's just they just be out of tune. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of out of tune, basketball is back. You told me that your basketball is a little out of tune as far as watching goes. Phil, tell everybody how much basketball you watched last season.
Last year, I ain't turned basketball on to the last 2 minutes of the championship game. I mean, it ain't, I don't know. It's kind of like, it ain't really that fun anymore. Like, it ain't physical. Like, I was always physical. Like, that's kind of the way how the NFL is going with all this BS and calling penalties. It ain't physical no more, you know what I mean? And basketball is just like, I got to be in the mood to watch basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think, too, for a lot of people locally, basketball and baseball kind of end up in the same category of, it's really fun to watch and get into when the Cavs are good, when the Indians are good, when the Reds are good.
It was, man.
But then when they're bad, it, like, turns you off. Like Tuesday, we get to watch LeBron and Steph and these generational all-world athletes that, like, I'll grow up and tell my kids and grandkids about one day. And it pisses me off watching it a little bit because I'm like, man, my team's awful. Like, why can't I enjoy this? Because I know that my Cavs are going to trot out there. They're over-under for their win total in Vegas for an 82-game season, the Cavs, 27 games of 82. Oh my goodness, we're in for some lottery.
That's lottery worthy.
I don't want to do. Who's coming out this year? I don't think.
Don't ask me.
Zion walking through that door. I don't know either.
Don't ask me. No, I do. Like, probably from the rookie class. I watched mostly highlights. I ain't catch no games. With Ja Morant.
Yeah, Ja's good.
I like Ja Morant. That's
what about LaMelo? The Cavs will see LaMelo Ball on Friday in the opener at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. That'll be a nice
LaMelo, he's smooth though, man.
Yeah, Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Cavs young backcourt against LaMelo. I'm a big LaMelo
Somebody
guy.
picked up the other brother, the oldest one. Or the middle one.
Lonzo's in Chicago, and then
Jello.
Somebody
just picked up Jello.
Yeah. Crazy. They got to try to get them all on the same team still.
Nah, they ain't going to work.
I still see the vision somewhere out there that
Big Baller Brand going to be everywhere that happens.
Yeah, we haven't heard a peep from LeVar in a really long time. He's gone to the shadows. He lost his platform, I think.
They told him chill out. He be on TV too much. They told him chill out.
All right, do you have a lock to win the NBA title as the season is getting ready to go on? I really don't. I don't know about the Nets because Kyrie's not there. I don't know if he's gonna be there. I talk to God every now and again when I'm.
It got to be a lock of who we think might gonna be playing in the championship.
Yeah, it's got to be.
So who I think gonna win it all?
Who's gonna win it all?
After not watching a lick of basketball. Here we go. Hail Mary. I'm not gonna go with the Lakers because I just don't think this renter team gonna work that LeBron put together. Yeah. Like I swear, like every year he just rents some guys for the season. I'm gonna go. It's some tough teams out there though. Milwaukee tough. I think they got a good chance of getting back to it.
The Clippers are tough. They got Kawhi and PG.
But Golden State is about to be healthy this year.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Golden State.
All right, I'm gonna stay in the West. I'm gonna say the Lakers. I can't bet against LeBron, even though I think a Lakers Nets final would be cool. There's a lot of storylines with Russ on the Lakers and going.
Nets
up
definitely.
KD.
I think they're gonna be going to the finals for the East though.
Yeah, I mean, no Kyrie. It's crazy, and like I said, I talk to God in my car like before I go to bed, and I just tell him like, God, man, thank you for giving me sane Kyrie, because you see what's going on with the guy now.
A little off the ship.
Yeah, a lot of flat Earth stuff going on. All right, that's enough basketball for today.
Get into these picks,
out of
man.
us, and let's get into these picks presented by BetJack.com.
From big parlays to picks on the money line, here are Phil's and Nick's picks of the week.
Welcome on into our weekly pick segment. Like I said, Phil Taylor on the pod has 2 games ahead of myself. We'll start it off on Thursday night football from First Energy Stadium as the Cleveland Browns at 3-3 will host Teddy Bridgewater and those Denver Broncos. Phil, word comes in on Tuesday that Baker Mayfield expects to be the quarterback of this football game. He said something along the lines of, it's his body, he knows how it feels, it's his decision whether he plays or not, and that's just how it is. Boy, that's a strong stance to take as we record this pod here on Tuesday before Thursday night football.
Yeah, it's gonna be the hardest thing he ever said, or gonna be the dumbest thing he ever said. So we gonna see. But yeah, I mean, all I can see is my little short stint in Denver is Vaughn and Chubb. That's just gonna be motivation for them. You know what I mean? It's going and that offensive line in Cleveland, they're gonna have a tough task trying to keep those guys off of Baker and keep him protected. Everybody knows he's hurt, obviously, but now people gonna be trying to go after him now. And the other team, I wouldn't be surprised if they take one, roughing the passer or something like that, just because.
Oh, man, mark me down as nervous about this game now, especially because Baker's back to talking. And like you said, it's going to be either the coolest thing that he's ever said or the dumbest. And, that's kind of the hill that he's going to have to die on now. It's the words are out of his mouth and into, I'm sure, print at the Cleveland Plain Dealer. So the Browns will be 5.5-point favorites in this game at home regardless. That's a big favorite against the Denver Broncos. Despite going into this one, you're likely without Nick Chubb. You're certainly without Kareem Hunt. Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry are question marks. The offensive line is a whole nother thing. And that's a point that you just brought up there with Bradley Chubb, with Von Miller, and some of those pass rushers that they've got in Denver. You got Blake Hance, who will be possibly starting this game, is a guard at left tackle. And then you have James Hudson III, who, James, I'm praying for you this week, my friend, because you're a rookie at right tackle and got cooked all week last week by the Arizona Cardinals. So I am extremely nervous for this game. I don't think I'd be any less nervous if it was Case Keenum at quarterback, just because I don't think there's that drastic of a fall off. I think this is a team that predicates on running the football, and they need to get now Dearness Johnson and Demetric Felton involved. But this is going to be an uphill battle for our Cleveland Browns on Thursday, and we're going to be there in person to take it all in.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. But this game is definitely gonna be a who won it more game. You know what I mean? Cleveland is just riddled with injuries this week, and yeah, I mean, and if Baker can go out there and play and find a way to win with all these missing pieces, oh yeah, it's definitely something that's going to be a positive sticker on his resume.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a Baker Mayfield that's trying to get his check. That's all I have to say at this point, where he's banged up. Obviously, the MRI results weren't golden, or else he wouldn't have gone for a second opinion. He's going to play regardless. Allegedly, he's saying that it is his decision, so he's going in there. Boy, I hope he's right, Phil. I really do. Because if he's not, and if he somehow gets even more hurt, we could be looking at a 49ers type situation from a couple years back, where you were really good and then you lose a bunch of guys and there you sit with the 3rd overall pick. And I don't even want to have those thoughts in week 6, but man, Baker's got to be right in this football game, and Kevin Stefanski's got to, what do you think? Are we going for it on 4th down on Thursday, or are we taking the points? There's a lot of people that are angry with Stefanski. I don't know if you've seen any of this, that he's very aggressive, man. On 4th down, he thinks to go for it. The math shows him to go for it.
Go hard or go home.
And he's not taking any field goals. Are you going hard, or are you taking the field goals?
What they got to lose?
Especially in this game.
Trying to win. They ain't got nothing to lose. Win.
It gives me shades of the Jets game last year, where we threw Baker out there with a COVID-riddled receiver core, and we had Jamarcus Bradley, who was running routes in the parking garage trying to get Baker's timing down before the game because everybody had COVID or were close contacts or whatever that mess was. It's eerily a familiar situation for the Browns here in week 6, so Browns favored by 5.5. That feels like a lot. I'm picking the Browns here. I'm nervous in doing it. I was nervous in doing it last week. I really didn't want to, but even without their guys, I think the Browns are just a better football team than Denver, and you have got to win this game. Your season depends on this game. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. If you lose this game, I've been a fan of this team my whole life. I've covered it professionally for a couple of years. You lose this game, the downward spiral begins. I'm all too.
I wouldn't say that necessarily, but it is a must-win for them, and against an opponent that, you know, with the healthy Browns team, should be an easy win. I'm gonna pick the Browns, and I'm gonna take the points as well. Wow. But if Teddy comes out there and goes lights out with Courtland Sutton and Hamler and those guys, and get Melvin Gordon running, it's going to be tough, you know. So the win condition for the Browns this week is that defense being tough and keeping Teddy and those guys to minimal yards, and Baker just going out there and playing mistake-free football, and that's the thing. And not trying to do too much. Just let the game come to him. And I'm gonna take the Browns.
What do you make of this defense, Phil, as we move past this game? It's going to be a big test for them against Teddy, you know, some of the speedy options that they have in Denver. A lot of people questioning Joe Woods. I'm definitely starting to question Joe Woods and the scheme. I don't believe that guys like Denzel Ward, John Johnson III, Troy Hill, these guys don't all magically suck at football now. And they've given up.
Joe Woods know Denver, though. So
yeah,
he knows those guys, you know what I'm saying, their weaknesses. So, of course, he's going to, you know what I'm saying, know what defenses and stuff that he can throw at them, what their, you know, weakness is. So, it'll be an interesting game, you know, him going against his former team.
Definitely. Let's move on past that one. We both got the Cleveland Browns. I'm very nervous about it. We'll be there Thursday Night Football in primetime from First Energy Stadium. All right, we'll head on forward. The Miami Dolphins will be home against the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are going to be road favorites in this football game, 1.5 points. This is a tough one to pick because the Dolphins are coming off the loss to the Jaguars in London. What do you make of this game here?
Falcons. I'm taking the points.
I'm going to take the Falcons and the points too.
Easy.
Tua, I don't trust him.
I think they finally got Pitts going last week.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they're gonna, you know what I'm saying, get him going even more. Hopefully they can get Davis going, you know, better than he's been doing. But yeah, I'm gonna take Falcons on this one.
Yeah, I think they finally.
Even though Tua's back, I'm gonna still take Falcons.
Yeah, they finally figured it out in Atlanta, and they got friggin' Cordero Patterson, who everybody had his career written off as just a great special teamer, really good return guy, and now he's a running back, and it's like, man, this guy's a beast. They figured that out. They figured out how to use Matt Ryan and let him just be the old guy that dumps the ball off to your boy Kyle Pitts. So yeah, Atlanta's definitely starting to slowly figure things out, and the Dolphins. A lot of people picked them to make the playoffs in the AFC this year, and right now, outside looking in.
No, they ain't making playoffs.
All right, we both got Atlanta on the road there. Let's move on forward. The Carolina Panthers will be on the road in New York against the football Giants. A lot of people in New York a little bit upset with Daniel Jones. Seems as if right when you start to get your mojo and your clout and we say a couple good things about you, you go ahead and you turn the football over a bunch of times. And then on the inverse, you have Mr. Turnover in this game, Sam Darnold. I picked the Panthers last week. I'm never picking the Panthers again. There's people in this town in Cleveland where we record this podcast that have the audacity and the nerve to say negative things about Baker Mayfield, yet at the same time, they wanted this clown as the quarterback of their team in 2018. No, thank you. Give me the Giants in this one. Moneyline Giants, lock of the week.
Ooh, you sound so
I have no faith in Sam. I have no faith in Sam Darnold. He's a typical USC guy, and he's gonna be a career backup.
That was deep right there. But I'm Giants, they ain't got all their receivers hurt.
It's all right. They're going to find a way. They got Devontae Booker, who's going to be also starting in my flex and fantasy this week.
I'm going Panthers on this one.
Man, you got them covering the two?
I'm going to go Panthers on this one. And, yeah, they'll cover the spread.
Yeah,
I'm going to go Panthers on this.
Those 2-point spreads are basically a pick 'em. Like, if you think the Panthers are going to win, you might as well bet the spread, you know, because it's only -2. What are you going to win by? 1? It hardly ever happens. Alrighty, we'll talk about another one of our Ohio squads here as the Cincinnati Bengals have a big test on the road in the big purple crab cake of Baltimore because Lamar Jackson. I'm wrong.
You tried one of them crab cakes, so?
Oh, so good. I'm a big seafood guy, so anything out there in Baltimore, man. When I went to Maryland and Ocean City, that food down there is so underrated. Like, that's a quality.
Ocean City more touristic. You gotta go like Maryland.
You gotta take me, man. I know that's where you're from.
Let me know, man. I'll take you out there. I won't be down there too much unless I'm visiting the fam. But yeah.
Yeah, man. So they definitely got some good food down there, but it's going to be a big test, seriously, for, the Cincinnati Bengals because the Bengals have been good. It's just that Baltimore has been better. And we talked about the injuries with the Browns. How about how the Ravens have handled these injuries? I know a lot of them have come on the defensive side of the football for Baltimore, so it's a lot in the secondary.
Well, you would never know, man.
You would never know. Yeah, they're definitely humming.
They've been feeling. Next man up mentality, man, and they've been showing. It's really the next man up, and that next man up and getting the job done for the Ravens, and that's going to control my pick, man. I feel as though that defense is, even though they're riddled with injuries, they've been, they stand strong. They've been working together, and it shows, man, and it helps out Lamar and them. And that's the thing, man. The offense, a lot of offenses go as the defense go.
Yep.
So that defense has been playing well, and obviously the offense has been playing even better. So I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one.
I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. It's just a massive 7-point spread in this game, and Cincinnati is so good, and I feel like a complete dupe for picking against them last week when I picked Detroit. It's just a much different opponent here. I'm going to do the smart thing. I'm going to take Baltimore. Obviously, I don't feel great about it, but I got to pick the Ravens. Let's move right on forward as we'll have a really good and important game as far as the AFC is concerned here, Phil, as the Tennessee Titans will be back at home in Nashville against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs bounce back in a big way against the Washington football team. On the road, they are going to be 3.5-point favorites in this game.
That's low for the Chiefs, but man, they better hope Jones is back. Because if Jones is back, then they have a better chance of keeping Henry under 150.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is so good, and I feel like we were watching him, and the chatter going into every year is, okay, it has to end at some point. You know, when's it end? It happens to all running backs, and I'll tell you what, it surely ain't this year where it's ending. It's like playing an offensive guard at running back. Like, the guy is so big, he's so fast, he's so athletic. It's ridiculous, and it's so fun to watch. This is a very difficult game to pick, though, especially with that spread being in favor of the Chiefs on the road, 3.5. This is a virtual toss-up to me. The Chiefs have struggled, and Henry has looked really good. And if Tannehill could get A.J. Brown going, like we saw a little bit in primetime, the Titans could win. I'm going to do the smart thing, though, and pick the Chiefs because they're probably the all-around better team, especially if Chris Jones does play. Yeah. But I don't know, man.
I'm going to go against you.
Wow, you're taking the Titans?
Yeah, man. I feel as though Henry on another campaign year.
Yeah, and he definitely is.
It's crazy, man. And with Julio and you know, A.J. Brown and Tannehill throwing it to them, I mean, if they get that going consistently, defense been playing decent, man.
Yeah.
You got Jeffrey Simmons was balling last night,
and
bro.
Bud Dupree, they got Bud Dupree in the fold there now.
Balling.
Yeah.
That defense, man, they solid. That's why I'm gonna go with Tennessee on this.
All right, this is definitely gonna be a close game. If I were to take Kansas City, it would probably be on the money line. I think I would pick Tennessee to cover this 3.5 because this is the type of game that's close. This could come down to who has the football last and how's your kicker feeling on that day. So let's move on past that. We're split up there. We'll have another good one, though, in New England. As you know, Bill loves playing these rookie quarterbacks. It'll be Zach Wilson on the road in New England. I'm going to take the Patriots here. Patriots 7-point favorites.
That's easy. I'm going to take Patriots and Mac Jones and the boys.
Yeah, pretty easy one. Let's move right on past that and get it to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Aaron Rodgers, talk about campaign tours. The bad man is here.
Bad man.
He's back. The Packers at home are 9.5-point favorites against Taylor Heineke and the Washington football team. What the hell is going on with the football team?
I don't know, man. It looked like a debacle to me, on and off the field.
Yeah, it's
yeah. I don't know. That defense is not playing the way it should be, and I mean, you got to play as 11. You know, you can't have one guy doing good. You know, and I feel as though it's just, I don't know. It's either not wanting it or just I feel like they ain't there. You know what I mean? I feel inconsistent. Like I watched a lot of their games this season so far, and it ain't the team I know. You know what I mean? It just they got a lot going on. I don't know if they trying to do too much new stuff. You know, so. Yeah, I'm going to take Packers.
Yeah, it's tough. Packers, 9.5-point favorites. Pretty easy game to pick there. Aaron Rodgers is on an absolute tear. It was cool, that video, you know, from last week after he ripped apart the Bears and the fans were flipping him the bird, and he let him know who was boss. So Aaron Rodgers is all the way back. My Aaron Rodgers fear.
I own you.
my fear meter's gone with the guy, so give me the Packers there. All right, this is the biggest spread of the week, and I think I know, bearing any surprises, how this one's going to go. Sean McVay's Rams at SoFi, massive 15-point favorites against Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. Lions can't catch a break. They just look really bad. Give me the Rams.
Yeah. Cooper Kupp going to go. Cooper Kupp, Woods. Oh, man, they're going to run all over them.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going Rams on this one.
This is a week, too. You know, once we do have the sports betting in Ohio, the one thing that you could do with games like this is you could bet on the prop bets. So they'll toss out there Cooper Kupp over 75 receiving yards, Robert Woods over 64 receiving yards. You could just, in a game like this, it'd be bet the over, bet the over, bet the over. Cause
see, I don't know nothing about that, but
it's pretty crazy, man.
It is.
But
you can bet it wherever.
Yeah, you can bet on all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, once we get it here, so this is going to be one of those games where you would just stack all those guys because against the Lions with that kind of that high-powered fire on all cylinders offense. Whoo, give me the Rams at home there. Let's move on past the Raiders, coming off a big-time victory. They're going to be back at home in their beautiful Allegiant Stadium, 4-point favorite against Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know really what to make of either of these two teams at this point in the year. You got Jalen Hurts, who's a really good fantasy quarterback. I don't know if he's an actual good quarterback. And then you have the Raiders, who kind of look like they had a really big win against Denver. And that was a tough win, too, because I picked Denver, if you remember. That was my lock of the week because they had fired their coach. There were so many distractions. I was like, Teddy's going to out-veteran these guys. But no, the Raiders got the job done, back at home, 4-point favorites here. Maybe the Gruden thing was addition by subtraction. I'm going to take the Raiders because I don't know what to pick here. It's a toss-up.
Yeah, it'll be tough. But yeah, I mean, nothing changed when it comes to the players. It's just the coach, you know what I'm saying? And then a lot of these players, they're built to block out the distractions about what's going on in the organization and things like that. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders on this one as well.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you got to show up and you got to play the games on Sunday. That's why they're played. You know, we could talk throughout the week like what we're doing right now all we want until we're blue in the face, but the games are played on Sunday for a reason. All right, another massive spread alert. Tom and the boys, Tampa is going to be back at home. Massive 12.5-point spread against the Chicago Bears. I know how we're both picking this one. Tom Brady, it's bizarre. At least I know how I'm picking this one. You gave me a weird look there. Tom at age 44, we talk about him so much, but I still, for some odd reason, feel like we take him for granted, where the dude is just an absolute machine. He's a baller. He's, probably going to play in another Super Bowl this year. I don't know when it's going to stop. Give me the Bucs. Give me the 12.5. I love you, Justin Fields. This would be an awesome Justin Fields game if he could win it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't think he can.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be tough for him to do it, but it's a great game for him. I think he'll play good, you know, obviously because he's going against Tom. But I just don't think their team is no match for the Bucs. And it's
a great defense too in Tampa. You could talk about the Bucs all we want, but that defense is legit. They know they got a rookie on the other side of that football. Give us the Bucs there. Another big spread alert, Phil.
Jeez.
Yeah, some of these matchups, man. The Arizona Cardinals are going to be at home. Boy, take a look at this one. 16.5-point favorites against David Culley's Houston Texans. The Cardinals are 6-0. They've caught everyone by surprise. They've caught me by surprise, and I'm a fan. I love what they do offensively. I'm going to take the Cardinals here, and in a shocker, and I usually don't do this, I'm taking the 16.5.
Ooh, you feeling froggy. I'm going to take the Cardinals, too. That 16.5 is up there. I ain't going to take the 16.5, but I'm going to take the Cardinals, though, because NFL is any given Sunday, and 16.5 points don't matter. And I don't care if it was Jacksonville. You know what I'm saying? Any 0-16, but I'm gonna take Cardinals for sure. But I don't think they're gonna put the 16.5.
Yeah, it's just an absolute crap ton of points. But we saw it in our own backyard here over at the stadium that the Cardinals have the firepower to do it. The Texans look like they're going the wrong way for sure. I don't think that's a secret to anybody.
They are for sure. I think they tanking.
Yeah, could be a long day for Texans fans. Let's move on to this one. Sunday Night Football in San Francisco. The 49ers, 4-point favorites at home against Carson Wentz and the Indianapolis Colts. We don't know who will be the quarterback for the 49ers. Jimmy G is trying to maybe make a little late inning magic of his 49ers career and kind of retake over the reins as the starting quarterback. Despite that all, 49ers, 4-point favorites against the Colts. This is another difficult game to pick, and I feel like even though this isn't like the sexy matchup that TV would probably want, there aren't many of them on these sheets today. This is going to be an entertaining game because this will be pretty close, I think.
It is, and I feel like, it's going to be close because Carson, he looked decent last week. He made some good plays. T.Y. is going to be back this week, hopefully, and yeah, I mean, the 49ers, they don't know who's going to be a quarterback, but, Defense is pretty solid. And this is a toss-up. But I'm going to go with Colts at home. I'm going to go with Colts in Indianapolis. You know what I'm saying? Playing at home. Lucas Oil. I think they can get it done.
Lucas Oil.
Lucas Oil.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the 49ers. I don't know why. I think just they're for some reason the favorite. So give me the 49ers.
Cool.
All right, let's get on to Monday Night Football. Seattle Seahawks are going to be back in a primetime
They really
slot.
gave them the Monday night game?
I think they're back on Monday night again here for us, Phil. As the Seahawks will play host to the New Orleans Saints. Saints, despite being on the road in the 12th man, difficult place to play, 3.5-point favorites in this game. The Saints are another team that I just cannot really get a read on, and neither are the Seahawks. The Seahawks were right there to beat the Steelers, man. Let Geno cook, and then Geno wasn't cooking. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. Give me some wisdom on this game, Phil.
I'm going to go with the Saints because their offense, man, they coming off a bye, so they're going to be nice and rested. You know what I mean? So Kamara going to get them boys going. Jameis, you already know what you're going to do. So, yeah, I think they're gonna get it done, Saints. And the Seahawks, man, I don't know. I feel as though their defense is pretty solid, but at times – like you got what's name out there missing wide open interceptions. Like that joint hits you in your numbers and you ain't catch it.
Yeah, it's
freaking Jamal Adams, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then you see, he said best in the nation. He was talking about it was like a little meme on Instagram though, but they made a meme on him. And when he said that, then they showed him dropping the pick. It was pretty funny though.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints here, too. allegedly, this could be a Michael Thomas return for the Saints. That's kind of a wrinkle people forget about. Just that, he's still in the fold there with Jameis, Kamara. We're still waiting for Kamara to break out. So the Saints are on the road. Vegas kind of knows what they're doing, I feel like, with that 3.5.
For sure.
It's so tough to pick against a team where their franchise quarterback's just down and out, and you're riding with Geno Smith. So give me the Saints on the road there.
Easy one.
Phil, toss everybody our disclaimer as we wrap up another pick segment here in Week 7.
It is not our fault if you lose your monies, but at the same time, gamble responsibly.
Exactly. And remember that when you watch these games and follow along with our picks all week. This has been another really fun episode of the Sports Parlor podcast presented by BetJack. Make sure to go check out BetJack on that Twitter machine at BetJackOhio. Go enter to win that Myles Garrett jersey. It'll look great, and we'll have you suited up for the rest of football season. Phil, it's been a blast, and we'll do it again next week.
Yeah.